In this video, we're going to be covering what is the fastest TTK SMGs inside Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. We're also going to take a look at some of the secondary options as well. Let's get straight into it. So of course, the most important thing here is the actual TTK numbers themselves. And I've put the three damage ranges, the first three damage ranges on this spreadsheet so you can see how the numbers actually drop off. Now this is chest shot TTKs only at the 150 HP of the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. And if you do want to see a mixed shot location, then you can check out the True Game Data website, which is where we pulled all this data from. So you can check that out if you want more in detailed stats and all that good stuff. That website's great. I'll leave a link in the description. Now, I do want to quickly point out before we move on as well that we do have 4 pistol options here. 2 have conversion kits, but these are all the fully automatic pistols in the game. So FTAC Siege, Renetti with the conversion kit, the WSP Stinger, and the X13 with the impact point conversion kit as well. So just keep that in mind. We've thrown this on here, but I do want to discuss that later on in this video. So what we'll take a look at now is this first TTK range. In some cases, the second TTK range can be quite important depending on what you want to use these guns for. But for multiplayer and for this close range, such a close range kind of game mode, if you want to call it, then the first range is the one that we should be really focusing on because it's the most important. Now, before we get into the fastest killing gun, I just want to point out the Renetti with that conversion kit is actually the slowest killing gun. So even though it's still a popular choice amongst a lot of people, and I'll get onto why that is a popular choice actually, you can see that is a pretty slow TTK gun. It's not a fast gun by any means. So obviously that is something we need to take a look into. But when it comes to the other guns here, we've got the WSP Swarm, which is going to be the best SMG in this game by far, in my opinion. And also probably will be the best in Warzone, providing they don't nerf this gun. So we just need to keep that in mind going forward. So we need to see what kind of changes they make. But for now, inside multiplayer, this is the fastest killing, fastest TTK gun in the game. And it's definitely one of the better choices here. VEL-46, quite surprising to be fair. I didn't expect the VEL-46 to be high up on the list, but it is. And it is a really solid choice because even over range, this gun's really good as well. PDSW is next, along with the Rival. Both are pretty solid, but as you can see, when it comes to that third range, this is when the Rival is a slightly better weapon. So obviously, you'll then focus on the further damage ranges. ISO 45, pretty solid as well. You've got the FENNEC-45 as well in here. The BAS-P. All these guns are kind of below that 300 millisecond TTK. Now we're going to take a look into the recoil charts for the top 6 SMGs when it comes to TTKs, because we also want to see which ones are going to give you the best possible control so you can actually land those shots and get the TTKs we are expecting. Now, as you can see on the very left, we've got the Swarm, which is the fastest TTK gun in the game. Now, obviously this is without any attachments, but keep in mind, this gun does have a lot of vertical recoil, has a bit of side to side as well. You can control this, obviously, with attachments, so keep that in mind as well. But it is still going to be probably one of the best choices, regardless of the recoil pattern, because at point blank range, it doesn't really matter too much. The VEL, again, is always going to be a good choice. It's low recoil, and it's basically one of the fastest TTK guns in the game, so always really, really good there. The Rival and the PDSW had a very similar TTK within the first couple of ranges, but I do think the Rival's a little bit easier to control in my personal opinion. I just like the feel and the look of the gun a little bit better as well. So personally, between those two, I do think the Rival's a better choice. Then we've got the FENNEC and the ISO 45, and again, these guns are a little bit similar as well. They don't have a lot of vertical recoil, but they do have a lot of bouncy side-to-side recoil. When it comes to the FENNEC and the ISO 45, both of these guns have a lot of bouncy side-to-side recoil and not very much vertical recoil. So again, at point-blank range, it shouldn't be too important, but it is something that you do need to consider anyway with this gun. So the ISO does kill a little bit quicker though, so personally I would steer more towards the ISO, and also because the magazine capacity on that gun is a little bit better as well. Multiplayer is not too important for this, but if you are then looking to use these guns in Warzone, then that could be a factor. Now, quickly going back to the spreadsheet here, I do want to just focus on some of those pistol options, and the reason for that is because the 5th place slot in this video is basically going to go to a pistol, and that's just because some of these pistols are pretty viable for the most part. So the X13 with the conversion kit of that side impact, or whatever it's called, the impact barrel, this has a 325 millisecond TTK at close range, which is the best TTK when it comes to the kind of pistol options, right? And it's even better than the LACHMANN Shroud and the FSS Hurricane. So if you do like those kind of guns, then it actually kills quicker than those. We've got the FTAC Siege, we've got the WSP Stinger, and we also do have that Renetti, like I said, with the conversion kit at the slowest possible TTK. So when it comes to the recoil of the pistols as well, so we've got all the recoil charts here for the WSP Stinger, FTAC Siege, X13 with the conversion kit, Renetti with the conversion kit. The Renetti and the X13 are the better two when it comes to only having kind of mainly vertical recoil, which is easier to manage than the other two. Now, again, at point blank range isn't super important, but if you do plan on using it slightly further ranges, then obviously you then want to have a manageable weapon. And the X13 and the Renetti are definitely going to be those two choices. Now, I'm not saying don't use the Renetti, but the X13 does have the faster TTK at close range, and it's still just as easy to control. So you kind of have a choice to make there, and I do think the X13 is overall a better choice. So quickly getting into the top 5 guns, I don't want to give any builds because you'll be able to find these all over YouTube now. People have made tons of builds for multiplayer on all of these guns, so you can definitely search those and get some really good ones. WSP Swarm is by far and away the best SMG in this game, especially if you build it correctly. It's got the fastest TTK, and to be fair, like I said, it's probably going to be the best choice for Warzone as well. It reminds me a lot of the MAC-10 from Warzone 1. Very solid choice. Next choice is pretty obvious, which is the VEL-46. This one is the one that you can actually use at range, but not only that, it has the next fastest TTK at close range as well, so obviously it's going to be a really solid choice on top of that. And it does have a really large mag capacity for multiplayer as base, so you're kind of saving on an attachment slot if you do want to use a large mag weapon. Next up, we've got the Rival 9, which a lot of people really do like this gun. This is probably one of the more popular choices when it comes to SMGs in Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. So it doesn't kind of go without saying that this is going to be a really good choice, because obviously the TTK numbers are pretty solid as well, and the recoil is pretty manageable. So overall, it's going to be another good choice there. Next up is the ISO 45. Now, comparing this with the FENNEC, there's a lot of better things about this gun. Not only does it kill a little bit quicker, but also on top of that, you get a 45 round drum mag as well with this one. So it kind of just makes perfect sense, and the base mags are not too bad as well. Also, you don't burn through ammo nearly as quick as the FENNEC, so the fire rate's a little bit slower. So just overall, a better gun in general. And it's probably something you've already leveled up from the previous title of the game. The last choice is the X13 auto pistol with the impact point barrel, which makes it feel more like an SMG, gives you a clean iron sight. But if you don't want to use the gunner vest or the overkill vest, then this is a solid choice as a secondary option. Like I said, it has the faster TTK than even the Renetti pistol, and overall you get some really good attachments, even with how large the mag capacity goes as well. So overall, it's a really solid choice. So there we have it. Those are the 5 fastest TTK SMGs in the game. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.